In the news this week, I mean, we thought when the Ukraine war started, Putin would be isolated. He's not isolated. He had the BRICS nation. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now 4 or 5 other countries. It's about half the world's population, about 35% of the GDP. He's got North Korean troops in his war in Ukraine now. He's very chummy with China. China and Russia always hated each other, not anymore, and Iran. These are the dictator countries. There's a very World War II.
All right, folks, today we're diving into one of the biggest debates in modern politics, how different leadership styles shape global stability and influence democracy here at home. This all unfolded during a heated exchange on Real Time with Bill Maher, where Bill sat down with journalist Megyn Kelly, known for her strong and unapologetic views. The conversation sparked quickly. Megyn argued that the U.S. is more secure when its leader is seen as strong and unpredictable, pointing to Trump as an example. In her view, nations like Russia, China, and Iran think twice when they can't predict America's next move. That unpredictability, she said, was actually a strategic advantage in foreign policy. But Maher pushed back. He argued that while unpredictability might work in a game of poker, it's risky for global leadership. His concern? When leaders start sidelining democratic norms in the name of strength, it can lead the country down a dangerous path, one where core values and accountability are at risk. They explored issues like international alliances, domestic justice, and the fine line between strong leadership and overreach. This wasn't just a spirited TV segment. It was a real clash of philosophies on what kind of leadership the modern world needs. So where do we draw the line between strength and authoritarianism? What does real leadership look like in a world as complex as ours? Let's watch the clip and break it all down.
If my guy gets in, I think we'll go back to the time that we had when he was president, which is the only time we didn't start a war and get involved in a war. Did Putin?
That's not true. Jimmy Carter never fired a shot.
Putin did not invade Ukraine until Biden took over. We had the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, which projected weakness through the world. People understood that we were enfeebled, and that is what was provocative. Weakness is provocative.
I feel like
Trump destabilized these people. They didn't know what to expect of him. Next thing you know, he's bombing Soleimani. Trump did strategic strikes that had people on their heels. They didn't know what he might do to them. And we did not have Putin invade
It's what he might do to
Ukraine.
us that I'm a little more worried.
All right, let's break down Megyn Kelly's perspective on Trump's foreign policy, because she makes a forceful argument about the role of unpredictability in global leadership. According to Kelly, one of Trump's key strengths was his ability to keep adversaries guessing. She suggests that when world leaders like Vladimir Putin couldn't predict how the U.S. would respond, they were much more cautious about taking aggressive actions, such as the eventual invasion of Ukraine. As an example, she highlights Trump's decision to eliminate Iran's top general, Qasem Soleimani, describing it as bold and decisive leadership. To her, moves like that sent a clear message. Act recklessly, and there will be consequences. That uncertainty, she argues, kept hostile nations on edge. In contrast, Kelly sees President Biden's foreign policy as projecting weakness, particularly after the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. She believes that moment signaled to America's rivals that the U.S. might hesitate in times of crisis. From her viewpoint, that perception has emboldened countries like Russia, China, and Iran, giving them the sense that the current administration is less likely to take strong action when necessary. For Kelly, it all boils down to leadership style. Do you prevent conflict by keeping your adversaries on edge, or does that same approach risk provoking even greater tensions down the road?
Together, I mean, in World War II, what did Hitler and the Japanese have in common? Nothing, except they saw the world one way, fascism. They all have to do it in their different way. Iran is a fascist country in their own way. So is China, so is Russia, Saudi Arabia, you could say also. Somehow, the world seems to be dividing between the good guy countries, the democratic countries, and these autocracies. And if your guy gets...
During their intense discussion, Megyn Kelly and Bill Maher tackled a topic that's raising serious concern: the growing cooperation between authoritarian regimes like Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. They even drew comparisons to the Axis powers of World War II, underscoring just how serious the situation could become. Kelly, argues that strong and unpredictable U.S. leadership, like what she associates with Trump, can disrupt these emerging alliances. In her view, when America projects boldness and keeps adversaries uncertain about its next move, those regimes become more cautious and less likely to coordinate major actions. She believes Trump's approach discouraged hostile powers from making bold moves, helping maintain a fragile peace through strategic deterrence, but Maher sees things differently. He questions the long-term effectiveness of unpredictability. His concern is that a leader who becomes too comfortable exercising unchecked authority on the global stage might start applying that same mentality at home, eroding the democratic principles that define the U.S. Maher believes America's greatest strength lies in its consistency, reliability, and firm commitment to democratic values, both domestically and internationally. What we're witnessing is a clash of two competing worldviews. On one side, Kelly emphasizes strength and uncertainty as tools to keep authoritarian regimes from gaining ground. On the other, Maher champions stability and democratic leadership as the best safeguard against rising global threats. Next voice. Now let's take a look at Bill Maher's side of the argument, because he approaches this issue from a completely different perspective. Maher makes a strong historical comparison, and while it's certainly controversial, his point is worth considering. He draws a parallel between Trump's first term and the early years of authoritarian figures in history, not to equate the two directly, but to highlight a warning sign. His concern is that early signs of authoritarianism can seem subtle or even harmless, but they can quickly grow more serious if left unchecked. Maher argues that when leaders are given significant power without strong oversight, things can escalate quickly. What may appear to be strong leadership on the surface could turn into something much more dangerous over time. His message is clear. If we don't take these early warning signs seriously, we may not realize the full impact until it's too late. He also questions Trump's approach to foreign policy. While it's true that Trump didn't start new wars, Maher wonders whether that restraint came from a true commitment to peace, or if it was part of a broader effort to consolidate power domestically. In his view, the issue isn't just what a leader does or doesn't do, but how they manage power and whether they're upholding democratic principles. At the core of Maher's argument is a pressing question. How do we safeguard democracy from drifting toward authoritarianism, even when the signs aren't obvious? He's urging us to ask tough questions before things